everyone, and welcome back to We Heart Therapy. You're watching the series, Your Guide to Therapy and Coaching, and I'm your host, Anabelle Bugatti. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Michelle Lewis. She's an LCSW, and she's going to talk to us today about hypnosis. Now, I know this is a term that has been around for a long time, and sometimes there's a little bit of controversy around it when we think about it, but Michelle's going to talk to us about all of the myths regarding hypnosis and what it's good for, and how you can find someone who uses this kind of therapy. So thank you, Michelle, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's dive right in. Can you talk to our viewers about hypnosis? What is it exactly and how is it used?
So hypnosis is really getting you into a very deepened, relaxed state of being where we can talk to the unconscious parts of your mind. So we all have certain behaviors or certain mannerisms that are deeply unconscious. They've been with us for so long, we don't even recognize where they're coming from or why they're there. And hypnosis can be a way of allowing us to access those pieces of ourselves. And yes, there are a lot of misconceptions. You think about stage hypnosis where people are making you quack like a duck or bark like a dog or something like that. And that is a very, very small part of it. It's also used for anesthesia, for dental procedures and things like that. But it can be used for all sorts of different emotional issues and compulsive behaviors. People use it to quit smoking a lot. People use it for weight loss and things like that. I use it for compulsive overeating. But I actually don't use it in its pure sense. So, if you go to a clinical hypnotherapist, it's really like a deep guided meditation rather than something like a stage hypnosis experience. And so I actually use it in tandem with EMDR, so eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. And so I use it once we've done a lot of trauma work to help reprogram some of those behaviors around food that have caused people to get stuck.
That sounds really interesting. Now, can you speak to some of the myths? I know probably the biggest myth around it is that hypnotherapists implant false memories. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, because you're completely in control of the process, it's not really possible to implant false memories. I think they said the same thing around trauma therapy in the 80s because so many people were coming out with memories of being sexually abused. And certainly there were some therapists who were coercing some of that, but by and large, you don't really implant those memories. Certainly by accessing unconscious material, some of those things can come up, but it's not because someone's putting it there.
Excellent. So if I'm somebody who's interested in hypnosis, can you walk me through what a session might look like? What is this? I mean, you're probably not going to sit down and have someone say, listen to the sound of my voice, or maybe or the little clock dangling back and forth and say, watch it with your eyes. So how would this deep guided meditation work?
So, and certainly there are varying techniques for it. I mean, when you think about the stage hypnosis piece, Milton Erickson used, hypnosis in his sessions, and his techniques have become very profound and very prolific in the field. But he even did something where he was grabbing someone's arm and just the way he touched them and the way he looked at them, that was an induction, what we call an induction. So by getting into hypnosis, you are induced into it. So they use an induction technique, and really it's just a very deep relaxation. So you're walking people through I'll typically use hypnosis in its more pure form in a group setting. I had a support group for a long time and would do hypnosis sessions with them. And so for example, I use kind of a stairway, and with each step, people were getting more and more relaxed. And by the time they got to the end of the stairway, that's when we started walking through being able to envision different patterns. So where your relationship with food, or I did a lot with body image, had looked this way, let's look at what you want it to be like in the future. Let's envision what you want that relationship to be like, and what would you be doing differently. And so it's really just helping people walk through the reality of what they want.
So it sounds like different hypnotherapists might have their own induction technique.
Sure, certainly. And you can do certain things like closing your eyes and opening your eyes, and just they become heavier and heavier as you do that. I mean, I do it. I have an infant son, and I actually do that to kind of help him sleep when he's too animated to be able to relax. I'll just get him to close his eyes over and over and over again, and then eventually he starts to go to sleep. So there are a lot of ways to use it.
Excellent. So what type of problems might this, I know you sort of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but what type of problems would this type of therapy be good for?
So it's good for a lot of things. I mean, as I mentioned, quitting smoking, weight loss, any behavior that's keeping you stuck. I mean, even if you're chronically late, if you struggle to finish tasks, if you have anger issues, any behavior that's getting in your way, it's going to help kind of alleviate some of those compulsive pieces where you don't understand where it's coming from. And just even being able to, as I mentioned, being able to start recognizing what it would look like to engage in your life in a different way in any type of behavior.
And so how would hypnotherapy be better than other types of therapy?
I don't know that it is better. It's something I use in tandem with other things. As I mentioned, I use it with EMDR really heavily. I think that any therapy that you become very comfortable with and that the client is comfortable with is the best therapy, to be perfectly honest. So I actually use a mishmash of all sorts of different therapies, like cognitive therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, internal family systems therapy, EMDR, hypnosis, and I've also started using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. So by weaving all of those things in, that becomes more effective than any one therapy on its own.
Excellent. So how can someone find a therapist that uses hypnosis in their area?
So there are a lot of hypnotists. So I think one of the things that's really important to distinguish here is a hypnotist versus a hypnotherapist, because anyone can go and do a weekend course. Well, it's more than a weekend. It was quite a long course, but could go do a course and they don't really have a background in therapy and become a hypnotist. But someone with more mental health training becomes a hypnotherapist. So I think it's really important if someone's looking for hypnotherapy that they are looking for a licensed therapist who also does hypnosis. And I think different search engines like Psychology Today are really, really helpful for finding a therapist who has a specific specialty. That's when I'm looking for a therapist in my area that I need to refer a client to who has a specialty that I don't serve. That's a great search engine for that.
Excellent. Now you're in Salt Lake City, Utah. So how can folks find you if they're in the area and they'd like to come work with you? So my website is so S as in salt, L as in lake, slweightcounseling.com. slweightcounseling.com, and you should see that in this video, as well as I'll include it in the drop-down description for this video. Thank you, Michelle, so much for your time and for being here with us today to discuss hypnosis. Thank you so much to our viewers for staying tuned. Make sure that you hit subscribe and that you don't go away, because more episodes are coming soon.